I have two reviews for you today because none of my reviews have gone as planned. If you remember, about a week ago, I did my 5 most anticipated movies of May, and I've been having a crazy, it's been a crazy arc. Just trying to find 2 of 5 of these films that are already out, but they're very limited releases, and it's Marama and Affection, and those are already getting like early reviews everywhere. Not early, but they're all having reviews because they're limited releases, so there are theaters that have them, and I have not found any theaters until today for the two of the 5 most anticipated May films for me, and I finally found one. So I got Marama. I will be reviewing that tomorrow. On the 13th, I will be reviewing my early screener for Obsession, and then on the 14th, I will get to Affection. If you guys are excited about any of those, obviously Obsession, not with counting, but. So today I decided to give you kind of a random horror film that I have been meaning to rewatch since I was a fucking child. So this movie came out in 2004. I have a soft spot for this film. I actually have it on DVD and haven't watched it in quite a while, and I want to see if it held up. I guess today it's technically a double feature because I'm also reviewing a film that I actually got to see early today. It doesn't come out till May 29th worldwide. 22nd limited screens, and it's Tuner. And I know that it's not a horror film, but I did say if there's anything that's non-horror that calls to me that I absolutely feel I have to talk about because I want people to watch on occasion, I will do that. And Tuner is absolutely one of those movies because I am in love with this thing. It's so good. So we're going to start with what we're all really here for first, which is the horror, Mindhunters. And Mindhunters is such a product of its time. I saw this in 2004 in the theater. I was 11 years old, and for some reason, the movie fascinated me. There's just something about the premise as a kid that fascinated me. I watched it a couple times after, but not really in my adult life, and I have it on DVD, so I was like, now's the time. No better time than a YouTube channel, review channel, to like bring it out. So I saw it today. And does it hold up as much as it did when I was 11? We'll get to that. But first, for you guys that are uninitiated, the movie is about a group of FBI profilers who are all on a weekend program to figure out a serial killer loose on an island. Now, this is all part of a simulation, all right? They're not actually chasing a real killer. They're amateur FBI agents who are trying to get better and being picked for these programs. And Val Kilmer is the man responsible for creating this program, choosing the elite of the amateurs and then putting them to the test on an island full of mannequins where they kind of have to figure out this simulated a series of murders. So they're the only real people on this island. And as you probably guessed, yes, one of them really does die, and it turns into a real life case situation. We are not, in fact, doing a simulation anymore, and now the urgency levels are at 10, and we have to get the fuck off the island, but also figure out who amongst us, and by us I mean the main cast of FBI profilers, is the killer. And like, I'm gonna level with you, okay? This movie got like rocked negatively when it came out in 2004. I think it was like May 15th, 2004. And I don't know why I told you that. This movie got rocked. This movie got rocked negatively. And I remember me and my mom absolutely loving it. I also was 11, and I wasn't looking at films as deeply as I do now, obviously, because, as an adult, I don't know, misery loves company, and you just want to tear everything apart and look for deeper meaning in things. So I was very much aware going into this movie that probably right now this would be very much a guilty pleasure. And I remembered key points, but not the finer details. So I was very excited to kind of go into this. And before I get to the flaws, I'm going to tell you everything that works in this movie, because there is quite a lot in this movie that works. And in my delusional mind, in this one, when I become a film director and I get the blessing of being able to create my own films, I would love to create something like this and flesh it out more. Because I feel like I didn't get the love. It's too late now to tell the entire world to go back and give it a try, appreciate it, because it does have its flaws, and I think some of its flaws may not have aged as well, unless you're someone who understands that it's like very much a product of its time, and you're okay with writing that out. But the movie is kind of a mix of things like 90s thrillers, early 2000s thrillers like Along Came a Spider, and sprinkled in with some Jigsaw. All right, we have Saw. The Saw franchise is in this. We got some Jigsaw in this. It does play around with some elements of action because these guys are, you know, they are combat ready. They know how to fight. They know how to defend themselves. But the film, 90% of the time, is a psychological horror whodunit experience where every single one of these agents are stuck in a room trying to figure out who's next, who's doing it. And what's cool is that every time that a murder is going to happen, a kill is going to happen, there is a clock or a watch that is left somewhere for them to see. And each watch represents a person and the time that they're going to die. So if they find 3 watches, it's 3 people. If they find 2 watches, it's 2 people. So there's this element of like also time running down and counting down to the inevitable death. And then there's the element of, okay, where is this death going to present itself? How is it going to present itself? And throughout the movie, you see the intimate ways that these deaths come about. And it's very much based on some of the weaknesses of these FBI profilers, which enhances the experience because you can tell that this is like, whoever's doing this is intimately connected to these characters. And without spoiling more than that, that is the main reason why this movie is so fucking fun, even today. Like, I had the same smile on my face that I had when I was 11 years old watching it in the theaters. I had the same stupid smile on my face going like, this is so cool, this is so clever, this is just awesome. There's something about this movie that is feels unique. It's not original, and obviously detective thrillers are not original. The idea of, you know, being stuck in one space, isolated from society, is not original. A group of people trying to figure out who's the killer among them is not original, and a bunch of traps killing them is not original. But all those elements put together in execution makes the film feel very inspired. This is a Rennie Harlan movie, by the way. So he did Die Hard films. He did Die Hard 2, he did Deep Blue Sea, he just did Deepwater, the Strangers remakes, which weren't very good, and so on. So Cliffhanger, he's done a lot of movies. There's so many I'm forgetting, quite a few. These are just the ones that always popped in my head. He is a man who's been around for quite some time. But he is talented. He has a lot of not bangers and quite a few bangers. So this guy is just, you know, he's just doing whatever he loves to do. That's regardless what people think. But I feel like this is his most inspired movie. It's an original concept, doesn't involve sharks, and it's not a Die Hard sequel. It's very much an inspired premise that I have a hard time single-handedly comparing to other, even though I just named all the things that uniquely composed together create this movie. The concept of like FBI profilers trying to figure out amongst each other who the killer is, how they're gonna do it, using math to figure this out, using forensic science to figure it out, all in one contained space, while they have the constant pressure of time counting down. You have the constant idea in the back of your head that the person who is responsible for this is going to be nervous as fuck. So you get this sense that maybe they're getting in the way of the killer's plan. So you don't know if the killer's going to do something unpredictable. So there's also that level of distrust amongst them. And the movie does a pretty decent job, especially towards the last act, of making you switch allegiances, even if you have that one person in the back of your head the entire time that's like, it's that motherfucker, or it's that bitch. It just constantly does that. And it's not trying to be the smartest movie in the world at all. It's just trying to be fun and make you a part of the experience. There's some really gnarly gore in here, really, especially the first initial kill and another one towards the latter half. These are not just normal kills. I mean, there's the killer has to do this without directly being in the way of the person they're killing. All this has to be set up with traps. So the kills are, for the most part, very creative, particularly two that I've always remembered and that I've always enjoyed. But the flaws are that the dialogue is unapologetically 2000s, and it's fucking cringy sometimes, and it's hard to listen to. Sometimes it's one-liners. One guy literally says, my man LL Cool J, by the way, who's in this, one of his best roles. He's such a badass in this, but he's in this and he says, we figured out what your weakness was. Bullets. Ah, yes, 2000s. This is a 2000s movie. Fuck. But the movie still works. It still works as such a fun ride. If you are along for the ride, it serves as a high tier guilty pleasure. We're talking like bordering on not guilty pleasure, but still nonetheless guilty. So that's a movie that I wonder if anybody else has watched, because no one talks about it. And I don't know why, but I have very fond memories of that movie, and I'm happy that for the most part it's not one of those movies that I go, oh no, I was 11. Other one that I want to talk about today is Tuner, and I want to talk to you guys about this movie because this movie really struck a chord with me. It's one of those very small, intimate crime thrillers that has a lot of things that work so well. People who like Blue Valentine, or smaller films like Killing Them Softly, or Uncut Gems, or Good Times, this is that movie for that audience. It's about a guy who tunes pianos, and he has what is considered a condition, hyperscosia, I believe. I probably butchered that, but he basically has a sensitivity to heightened sound. He is what he says, what he calls allergic to sound. And so he walks around with these buds in his ear, and on occasion he puts on bigger headphones to block out sound. He's very sensitive to sound. He used to be a pianist, now he just tunes them. And through some misfortune, he learns how to crack safes through using his hyper hearing, which is a very real condition. So he's basically Daredevil. He's like cracking the sound of safes, and he does this for a group of crooks. I won't tell you what the reasons are or how we get there, because it's kind of the fun part, but he ends up cracking the safe, and the crooks hire him to crack more safes, and if he does, they'll give him more money to help pay for the medical bills of someone that he really, really, really loves. The performance on this main character, this actor I've never seen, but every line delivery that he has is so understated, and it's so real. Like kind of like Good Times or Uncut Gems, where it doesn't feel scripted. It doesn't feel, but it's also like so good you could not possibly have improvised it. So his delivery was just incredible. It reminded me a little bit of a Blue Valentine. But there's so many personal elements to him that make him a very distinct New York character, and I love that about him, because he's kind of quiet, but he's got a little bit of an attitude, but he's a sweet guy, and he respects his elders. He's just like a cool dude, and his whole thing is that he tunes pianos. Now he's in this weird situation, and obviously, like these films go, he's just a normal guy. It escalates. The movie is a slow burn thriller that has a very sort of tight, explosive third act. The movie has slow moments. It is, like you are learning a little bit about him. You are learning about what he wants in life and his regret of not being able to actually play the piano anymore because of his condition. And there's like there's a little bit of sadness to him, the way he looks at like couples and stuff like that. And there is a romance element to this that is not hokey or forced or anything. It was so perfect, so well realized. And all of this leans into the crime element, because obviously you give a character all these beautiful things and life starts getting better, and then sure enough there's a misfortune that happens that turns it very dark and very murky, and violence is involved. And this movie is just dark. It leans into the dark later on while still having good levity, and it just feels so leveled and so grounded and so human, and the performances are so believable that every time something happened to this guy that almost ended him or ends people he loves, I'm like, please don't. I like this character. He's and it's rare that you have a character that you don't just tell yourself, I like this character, right? Like, I genuinely just felt like that he was a real character. I felt for his regret in life. And so whenever the dark shit started happening with the crime element of the movie, I was like, oh no, dude, like, I actually really want you to have a happy ending, which is rare because I usually don't care for happy endings in movies. There are moments in this film that play with music and the piano. There's usually someone playing the piano parallel to a scene that's happening, and I just think that kind of editing is very clever in movies. It worked for Baby Driver. It's obviously not anywhere near as crazy and over the top as Baby Driver, because this is an action movie. I really, really, really loved this movie, and again, I wouldn't talk about it on this channel if I didn't actually think it was something good outside of horror to watch. But on occasion, I will refer to something that you guys, if it sounds like something you would like and you're into those kinds of films, I think this is such a good movie. I'm not good. This is a great movie that I genuinely really enjoyed. And I was already kind of watching, when I watched the trailer, I was like, there's just something about it that I know I'm going to love. I'm going to dig. And I came out happily surprised that I was right about loving this movie. So if that sounds at all anywhere near interesting to you, you might be in for a really great film that'll stick with you. I dug everybody, even the villains. That's just a testament to how good the writing in this movie is, that I was just enthralled by all the characters, and there are moments of levity that are well needed, and they are funny. So yeah, I think that if this sounds good to you and you like those other movies that I mentioned, you're into that kind of subgenre, definitely give this a try. It comes out May 22nd, limited worldwide May 29th. So that's it, man. Those are my movies for today. Tomorrow we're watching Marma early in the afternoon. The day after we're watching Obsession. I'm going to get those reviews up for you on those days. And then on the 13th we have Affection. And then Is God Is on Friday or Saturday. So I've got 4 horror movies that are brand new back to back for the next 4 fucking days. Yeah. I am going to give Guy Ritchie his flowers this weekend, though. Probably on Sunday. He's got that new film In the Gray with Jake Gyllenhaal and Henry Cavill. And I like Guy Ritchie movies. I think he's so good in action. He does great movies. He really does. He's been on a roll lately. So I'm going to watch it. But for the next 4 days, we got horror after horror. I'm saying horror, not whores. Stop it. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I love and appreciate that you guys are here with me, listening to me blab. So I will always say it at least once every video. And I think I've stayed pretty true to that. So thank you guys for showing up. And as always, I will see you in Yongha. All right, that's movies in Korean. If I have any Koreans who watch my YouTube channel, please let me know how bad I fucked that up.